Last time on Lawful Stupid in Angel's Cove. William and Bee are ready to go on this adventure through the portal and save their friend, Lucian. You teleport through and you are in a location, but you can see this floating kingdom. You guys make your way through the town. You find a rather portly man. I'm the curator for the lowers.
This is an excellent happenstance. I was actually looking for you. I'm concerned. I heard some soldiers, the ones who will be escorting the diamond, talking about skipping out on their transfer duty. I've got a small crew. We're going to double up the patrol and essentially keep the upper museum guards where they need to be.
Here's the access card for the downstairs. And then you hear the trumpets. And you know that that's a call for the diamond to come up.
I flash the security card that I have.
Sorry about the inconvenience.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And then I pull Miss B along. We're going to take it the rest of the way. You guys get to enjoy the party.
This is awesome. It's awesome. Imagine Army privates. They just think it's the best. They have alcohol. They are off shift. Then they leave and go around the corner.
Let's put it in my pocket and skedaddle.
You make your way back to the Elders Chapel. Sister, you have it.
She'll take out the diamond from her pocket.
Is that a baby or a diamond? And he takes it from you and he says, "You'll have your friend back on the morrow." Lucian, you open your eyes to the sun beaming through in your face to this in this Elders building. Standing above you is Will and Miss B.
Told you we'd be here.
Welcome home, buddy.
Lucian has been revived, and everything seems to be well, and our lovely heroes, agents, whatever you'd like to call them, are getting to spend a little time in their hideout, we'll call it, at Angel's Cove. But this episode is special because we are going to follow Beatrice on her one-off and some things that she's got going on. And so, Beatrice, I'll kind of let you take off here. But just to set the scene, we've been now in Angel's Cove for a couple weeks. What have you been doing, whether it's on your own or with the boys or with family? Kind of just a general synopsis before we jump in.
Well, she for sure was doting on Lucian for quite some time, just to make sure he's good and okay and whatever, but she also gave him a tour around at least the old city that she knows of. Probably took a few wrong turns and was like, I have no idea where I am now. And she would offer them a place in her home to sleep, so it'd be her two kids' bedrooms if they were interested. Otherwise, she would probably walk around town, see who's still around that she might know, and just kind of wander and see how she can feel like she's herself or not. A little lost, for sure.
Would you say mostly lost now? I guess it's been over 600 years to you, and so even if it seems like yesterday, the people and the city has completely changed.
I would say 97% lost.
That's pretty specific, and I like it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, okay. And I guess you're hanging out mostly in the old town. We'll call it the old town, and we'll call it the new town. So we can distinguish between those two.
Sounds good.
We'll start our adventure with you simply reflecting in your very own home. The place where you and Neo, when you fell in love, you built this place, helped build it together, and you built a family here as well.
Yeah, a lot of her days, or at least maybe this day in particular, she's going throughout the house, taking her time, walking slowly, just, finding that cute little nick in the dresser over there that her kids messed up during a play fight or something. Smiling softly at little reminders of, hey, there's a paint splotch that she threw at Neo when he was interrupting her painting. It's very slow and quiet as she goes about and checks them out and maybe stare at the painting she made that's above her mantelpiece and stop through with her family albums.
And I think that as you walk into your room, your old bedroom, that you step on the all too familiar floorboard that creaks, because this floorboard is kind of where you kept your secrets from your kind of cutesy things from your kids. Mm-hmm. And Neo would often leave you sweet notes here. And you notice that maybe this one has a little more wear and tear to it than it should.
Well, that's a little weird, because my siblings said they had been taking care of the house. But she'll go down to it, and like usual, she'll just hit it with the back of her heel, just to like pop it up a little. And then kneel down to pick it up and go inside, check out her little hidey hole. What's different?
Yeah, and I think there are several items here. There is the ring that Neo wore himself from the Haven family. It was his another ring he had, perhaps. It's like a sigil almost. So not his wedding band, but another family heirloom. A couple odds and end things in here. And then there is a small journal that looks different to you.
She'll look at it, kind of stare, like, do I remember this journal? It's been a minute since I've been in here, and then 600 years. She'll pick it up and start flipping through. Maybe it's an old diary that she just forgot herself.
As you open this, you see that there are some scribblings. Some of it can be read. Some of it has perhaps old maps or sketches, maybe of town, all unfinished, it seems like. And as you're flipping through, you see that there's a few pages that have not been written in. And then it starts the pages begin to fill. And I think that you stop flipping through so quickly as you begin to get to this area of text. And you see that the first page that has some writing on it says Day 1 at the very top and then the center. Now, I'm about to give you a wall of text, and so feel free to ask any questions after. I'll make sure to have some notes. But in this, you find this writing. My dearest Beatrice, if this letter finds you, I don't know what state the world will be in. As I sit in it, the world is in chaos. The throes of it threaten us every day, which is why you left me in the first place. And I was always so impressed by you, a strong woman, but at the same time the most loving mother and supporting wife. At my decline, you stood by me, knowing my limited human years would leave you with heartbreak. I want you to know that I completely understood when you had to leave in my last days. I was told by Marguerite and Lafayette that I was barely there. My mind had left me. This leads perhaps to your confusion about this letter. I want you to know that sometime after the blossoming, your brother and sister used magic to have me awakened. Before you get mad, I think it was for a very good cause. I don't know if you remember all the work that I was doing with a group of people, the Invokers. These beings have some sort of great spiritual connection to the gods, something much more than just a connection to the source of their magic. Almost as if the god favors them. But they are not without testing. My family, albeit crooks and mongrels, did seek to find these individuals and give them a home. As a young boy, I remember my father going out to find these people. Often children who exhibited some sort of elemental prowess, and he would bring them back. We formed a school here that is a branch of our normal school, even here in Angel's Cove. These Invokers learned what it means to harness their power. At any rate, this isn't one of my research papers. I miss you, Beatrice. I only have a couple months of time. I have tried reaching out to you several times with no success. I had heard you were right in the center of things when they went wrong. Taggart has retreated from the southern continent, but they are by no means defeated. Zaylens has rushed in to clean up the area. We had heard that there were several who were touched by the dragon's curse and placed at the Catacomb Isles in the House of Slumber. I fear that you may be one of those, and my heart breaks. But now I work to figure out why the dragon's curse exists in the first place, and why it only affects those who use magic. Definitely something to do with the gods. And then you see another posting for day 25. I've had a huge breakthrough. The dragon's curse has nothing to do with the dragons, per se. It has everything to do with one of the planes, an elemental plane. Its magic courses through all of the planes, but was infected somehow, tampered with. Instead of being able to draw upon the magic, it seems that it was drawing the life force out of people when they used magic. The more they used it, the more it drew them out. I know it doesn't seem to seem like a lot of information, but this is huge. Now we just need to pinpoint which plane it affects. Day 47. There is another plane. There are all of the elemental planes held by the gods, but there is another. I can't prove it just yet, but I think that those who were put into sleep are the same ones whose life force is now on this plane. I say that because a few of the invokers, using some of their abilities, were able to tap into the mind and soul of a few of the sleepers and talk to them. They kept saying, "Help us, help us." Any questions we asked were simply replied to as such. But this is a huge breakthrough. It's insane. A powerful magic. What's amazing is they are asleep, but they don't die. They are preserved in the same state in which they fell asleep, and it is well past the time in which they would require food or water to remain alive. This isn't good by any means. Some darker magic is at work. It feels like the end of times. I only have a few days left anyway. Maybe writing this is all pointless. And then day 60. Beatrice, my sincerest belief is that you will change the world like you changed mine. You've never been one to sit on the sidelines and let the world pass you by. That's what I first noticed about you all those years ago when we were on mission. Even before you were a mother, you were a problem solver, a go-getter. You made me better because of it. You are my inspiration. Your siblings are putting me back to sleep today, for good. But what a glorious second chance to be able to write you. Our kids don't know I've been awake. I think it would be too hard and confusing for them. I've been able to sit at the window and watch them walk by on their way to school, or as our older ones walk hand in hand with their loved ones. Our grandkids are getting so big and missing a lot of teeth. I've written them letters as well. Beatrice, we built something amazing. A place for our family. And a place for those without a family to become a family. That's what life is about. You are born, you live, and you die. That is a natural cycle, and I'm okay with that. But it's all the stuff in the middle that tends to be the hardest. And it's even harder when you're alone. When I met you, I knew I would never be alone again. Even now, I feel you with me. You're out there somewhere, improving on the world. I will sleep peacefully tonight, and hopefully dream of you. I've left you something in the bottom drawer of our dresser. I hope it's still there if you find this. Lastly, I was able to work with some of the invokers to create an incantation that can give you access for brief moments to the soul plane, as we are calling it. We haven't gained much more than that, but as long as the soul plane exists, we have a chance. And there's nothing else in the journal. It ends there. No more entries, several pages blank.
She'll sit there, holding the book, the last pages, like, deep breath. Maybe a few tears rolling down at this point. Couldn't help but read and keep going until there was nothing left. And she'll grip the book tighter, bring it to her heart and hug for a second before quickly going over to the dresser, inspect whatever that thing was.
Yeah, and you do. I think. What do you find in there?
What do I think I find?
No, what do you find?
What do I find? If it's a little gift by Neo, it'd probably be a cute little music box that he attempted to make and fiddle together. Not the most deft of hands to do it, but he knows her love of music and songs, and maybe collected one of the ones that she used to sing, put in a little music box format. And maybe inside is a little tiny dancer. Or maybe two, to reflect the both of them, and they're just... She turns the little crank and it starts to play, and she'll watch the two little figures dance about. Maybe it takes on a magical aspect of it, and it starts actually dancing around in circles.
What I would like to think happens is as you turn this small handle, wind this thing up, you hear the gears clicking in place and the characters moving around. It begins to play the lullaby that you told him about, like the thing that kept you as a child, in a sleep, and the same thing that he heard you hum to your children to get them to sleep at night for so many years. And presumably they pass it on down the line. And as it begins to play, not only do you the music fill your ears, but you begin to see those colors that you saw in your vision kind of dance around the room as if they're emanating from this box. Nothing much more than that. And then it ends.
That sap. She chuckles and wipes away some tears. And she'll happily place it on top of the dresser right next to her bed, alongside the notebook that he left for her.
Yeah, I don't know how much time you spend here. Maybe just gathering yourself.
Lots of time.
Okay.
So much time, Devin. It wouldn't be fair for the listeners if I left all the pauses.
Let's just do it in real time now, and you just tell me when you're ready.
Oh, it'd be far too long.
3 hours later. Okay, great. And I think maybe it's the next day. You lay down in this bed, maybe thinking of Neo and times together, confused, elated, and you fall asleep. And you wake up the next day.
Cool. Well, I think the next day, having collected herself, curious about a few things he's set for her, this stuff about the invokers and the soul plane. But it's at the school, right? Or he said it was an offset of the school. So she's going to go to school, to the school that she knows of. Who knows how many are there now? But old Fairy Tale High sounds good, right?
Fairy Tale High it is. And it's got, let me just say also, it's got some higher level magics as well. So it is perhaps a K through 12-esque feel to one side of this building, and then there's some higher level education that takes place on the other side of this building. And so this building is in the new town. Mm-hmm. It is a brick and mortar. It's a beautiful work of art with kind of those. We had mentioned, what is the word you used to describe? They have the very fairy-esque, grounded. There are no right angles to the building, and so it's kind of like this amalgamation of just beautiful art.
You've just asked me what word was it. Now I'm not even going to remember the word.
Anyways, think of just the most out there art, it's Fey style architecture, and it's craziest. Feel that in your head.
I'm going to remember in 5 minutes. It'll be great.
They do have these two giant gates at the front of this wall that covers it, but they're open.
I feel like she's been used to so much security that it's kind of weird and jarring at first. Mm-hmm. It's a school. I can just walk on campus. Wait, this is my home. It should all be fine. And she'll go, I guess, towards the front office, because at least...
Yeah, there actually are some people that are, on these, elk-looking creatures. They have like 6 legs, and they seem to be patrolling as you walk into the campus.
Mm-hmm.
There are what looks like some adults who are like leading kids in a line, and they're all like holding hands on one side of the building, walking around. And then sort of the opposite side, if you look we'll say to your left is kind of where you see the younger kids milling around, playing on the playground. And then to the right, you see more put together adult figures who are coming out of this other side of this large building.
I'm going to assume the adult side of the building.
Yeah, okay. And so it kind of looks like if you were to look at it from above, from the sky, this building is like a letter H, where there's like a long building, and they're like 3 or 4 stories tall on each side, and then there is that piece in the middle that will connect both of these buildings. And you walk up the stairs, marble stairs, into this building, and it's beautiful on the inside as well. There are vines growing kind of all around the walls, but it doesn't look like it's intrusive or tearing the building down in any way. It's part of the vibe of this building. And there is a sort of a front office that you can go into.
Cool. Well, I'm just gonna kind of somewhat picture how my high school looked like when I walked in. It's right there. She'll go right in. It's probably like a nice kind of glass kind of door going on.
Yeah.
It's frosted. It still has designs on it to like keep the look upon it, but like enough so that the adults can see who's coming in and out, right?
Yes, absolutely. Security is paramount here at the Angel's Cove School for Higher Learning.
Beautiful. And she'll see if there's a receptionist, secretary, who knows who's in there. She'll just like, hello?
There is sitting, and it's like a longer desk that has several chairs, but there's only one individual, small gnome, who says, "Oh, how can I help?" Oh my goodness. And he kind of jumps out of his chair. You see him disappear behind the desk, but you hear the pitter-patter of his feet running around. And he says, "It is a pleasure to meet you." And he reaches up for your hand and like kind of shakes it without you giving it to him.
Oh. Yeah, she will willingly give the handshake back, just like to be more effort in this. Kind of still kind of weird. She's like, hello. I'm guessing word has gotten around the town.
Oh, indeed, Madam Beatrice. Thank you for coming to visit us. Is there something we can do for you? You want to take a tour? You want to take a class? Anything for you?
Oh, there was a few things I was interested. I was hearing from one of my nephews how the story of the town first started up, and that was it was a bit watered down from what I remember it being. As well as, I was told about, what were they called? It's like an invoker class, I believe.
Oh, yes, we take great pride in training the invokers.
I was interested in both those. Who do I talk to about, I suppose, the history classes for the children, as well as perhaps looking in on the invoker class for at least a day or two. Perhaps getting a pass for a couple of my friends who might be interested.
Oh, as we said, absolutely anything for you. So what would you like to do first? Let's get you on your way. I will be your personal. I'll show you around myself. My name is Geraldo, and I'd be happy to get you refreshments as well as we take our trip.
No refreshments needed right now. I ate before I came over. Let's start with the history, since that seems a little more easier to digest. Who do I speak to?
Well, let's just take a walk and see who's kind of got a class going on, and I think we can catch maybe a professor or two who's kind of just taking office hours.
All right, sounds wonderful.
Okay, and I think he takes a minute to go gather some things at his desk, and grabs like a briefcase, and then he says, "Follow me." And so you'll take a couple stairs. You'll go 2 floors up in this same kind of the higher education center and walking down a hallway, and then you stop at a door, and he goes, "Oh, why didn't I think of this? I'm sorry. I'm just maybe so shocked by your presence. Why, you're one of your very own family members." And on the door it says, "Headmaster Clariel Haven."
She'll pause for a moment, read the name, look at Geraldo.
Yes.
It's been 600 years. My great granddaughter is still alive.
Yes. You live to be very old as elves, and then even more so, a sun, moon, and he points to you and Twilight.
She'll knock on the door. She's excited. It's like a fast rat-a-tat-tat. But she's not going to barge on in. Headmaster and all that.
And you'll hear someone say, "Yes, just a minute, please." And you do, and she goes, "Maybe we should have made an appointment, but I'm sure she'll be happy to see you."
Well, from what I remember when she was little, she was very much a stick in the mud of sorts. It's alright.
And the door opens, and Avon, because I cannot find these daggum notes, I recollect her being a moon elf as well.
No,
What is she? She's something that lives a long time.
Well, she was a half-elf, but a lot of that family side was a mix of elves mixed in, so it's your choice on how long they get to live.
That's true. She got that blood, that good blood running
It's
through
your
her.
world, my dude. But from what B remembers her to be, she had very straight, almost white, purplish hair of sorts. More towards the purple tint, but very pale, very bright. And her skin was a nice tan color with any of her children and grandchildren that were related to her by blood, they all had that little star speckles on their skin. And that's how you knew that they were Beatrice's kids.
It's like a trademark.
Yep.
Of being a grandchild or child or bloodline of Beatrice.
Mm-hmm. Or a Twilight elf. It's not all just B. But hers definitely had it throughout the whole entire line. She always had a sour face too, so when she looks up, I imagine she's an old woman at this point, looks up at her granddaughter. Miss B, she's always been so serious. There's just kind of a shit-eating grin on her face, just kind of a light and happiness to see. Well, she saw her siblings, but this is one of her grandbabies she got to play with all the time.
That's true. Yes, Geraldo, who have you brought me?
You can't tell me you've forgotten already, little Claire.
And her eyes open up. Could it be? Pun intended. But she doesn't laugh.
Yes, it is.
What does she call? What do your grandkids call you?
What do my grandkids call me?
Gram?
Oh God.
Meemaw?
No, I got one. Because Ginge and I have this joke, right? And I'd like to use it.
Okay.
They'll call her the Granberry.
The Granberry?
Yeah, and most of all the nicknames that her children have had, children, grandchildren, all that, they're all berries. She'll call them a strawberry, blueberry, some sort of fruit when she ran out of berries.
She calls you elderberry. What do you do? No, she says, Grandberry, is that you?
Yeah. It's me.
It is a pleasure to see you. I had heard you were in town, but when you had not come to visit, I assumed it was not true.
Well, I thought I taught you to go seek out the truth if you were that curious. Or have you been too busy being the, Grand Master of a school right now?
She points, she says, Headmaster.
Ah, close enough. Look at you.
Yeah, please do come in and sit. We can chat for a while.
Oh, of course. She'll happily go over and sit.
She has a very neat office. Everything has its place. It's just so, and even as she makes her way back to the desk, perhaps the door blew a stack of papers on the desk, just so off a little bit. And you see her pick those back up and put them just where the corners match. And she walks back around the desk, and she sits down, elbows on the table, leans forward, and she says, "So what news do you bring?"
Not much news, I suppose. I came here in hopes to help my friend, and I did just that, and sadly there's a lot of my memory that's not adding up at the moment.
How are you here?
That's a good question. Apparently I have been asleep for 600 or so years. Been up for the past couple months or so.
You've been up.
Awake.
You were asleep.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know?
Well, that's what one of my friends, Riz, has told me.
Riz watched you sleep.
Not that I am aware of. Just a friend from the blossoming time.
I remember it.
I imagine.
She sits back, arms folded. Chair kind of creaks as she leans back. She's still staring at you. What are you doing here?
I had to come home and see if I actually did miss 600 years.
And she kind of waves to herself. Not the same young girl that I once was.
No, you've grown up.
And you haven't aged nearly at all.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just very surprised, if you can't tell.
I imagine it is a surprise for everyone at the moment. Even me. Here, back in, I think everyone's calling it Old Town now, to me that felt like it was only a couple months ago, in my memories. But
that is amazing.
Mm-hmm. But there are... I came to the school for a few reasons. I didn't even know you were here.
After my pilgrimage, I decided to come back, and everyone was doing their part to figure out the dragon's curse, and so I decided that, well, you were my hero, and you were out there fighting the bad guy somewhere, and I just wanted to be like that, and so I thought, I'll come back and I'll help my people, and then by helping my people and the ones I know I want to fight to love, that I'll be able to do that out in the world too. And now I'm the headmaster of a school that tries to do that.
That's wonderful. You're doing a lot. I heard that you have an invoker class, as well as you would remember. You know of Argyle, I'm sure, because you'd be cousin. cousin of sorts?
Yes, indeed.
Could you tell me, did he just learn history wrong, or are your classes up to par?
Have you had many conversations with Argyle?
Not that many. I've been home going through everything.
He's a few missiles short of a magic missile, if you get my meaning.
I see. So maybe he has gotten the story wrong. Do you still tell the story of my own mother and father, Sanjay and Terse? I almost forgot Devin. No, I thought it was Terse.
Terse is here. Of course, how would we explain our foundations if we didn't tell of the origin?
Beautiful, because his version was quite watered down. It didn't mention the war at all.
Few missiles short, I say again.
I see. Well, wonderful. I was very worried about the school if that was the case.
Not everyone goes on to be an academic or much else. And that's okay.
That is alright.
Everyone has their place.
But one of our own not knowing the story of their great-great-great-grandparents? I don't even know at this point. I'm sure there are many of you now. She'll kind of look down and lost for a second.
Hey. Thank you. I know whatever happened, we don't know, obviously, yet, but thank you for trying. You inspired a lot of us.
She'll smile. I'm glad. That's good. I'm sad I've missed so much, but still working on the same job. It seems like. So there's that.
What do you mean?
There's much going on with the dragon curse and those that are sleeping, since apparently they're waking up again. My friends and I are working on this. Interesting.
We did get news of a spike to the southern continent, close to the catacombs, and we can only imagine there is something going on there. I don't suppose you were wrong.
Well, I'm certain it will be right, and it only feels like it's going to be getting worse at this point.
Well, how can we help? How can I help?
We're on a mission to get dragon scales.
Dragon scales?
It seems to be the thing that started everything off. If your work...
She pulls out a notebook and kind of scribbles it down, and she says, "No one's seen dragon scales in millennia, almost."
Apparently we had collected it 600 years ago. So it is our job to collect them again to fix whatever's wrong.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you something. And she opens her drawer, and she hands you this small, spherical, very easy to put like in a pocket type stone. And she says, "This is a stone of sending. So if you need to contact me, I have. You can get in touch with me anytime you need."
Oh, wonderful. She'll take it and put it in her pocket. She'll look up at her and it's like, however, we don't have to talk about this right now. I'm sure having my friends about would be better at explaining everything that's going on.
Indeed. Yes, if you want to get with Geraldo, to get something on the books, Geraldo, whatever she needs, make it work. Yes, Headmaster.
When I come up with things I need, I will definitely let you all know. However, just so you know, I don't know if Marguerite and Lafayette have told everyone, but we're collecting everyone for a dinner this evening.
I have not gotten an invite.
Maybe they're just slow on the uptake. They're much older now.
Who was in charge of it?
I think it was Laufey, and that might be why we might be having
that
a problem.
Explains it thoroughly.
But they're collecting everyone for a family dinner. It'd be nice to see you.
I would be honored to be in attendance.
She'll smile.
Consider me present.
Wonderful. Any other family, you might want to give them a heads up, because Laufey might wait till about 5 minutes before everyone's supposed to show up.
I have a couple that I still enjoy the presence of. Perhaps I'll send word to them.
Oh, good. Yeah, we cleaned off some of the rooms at our old home. So pushing all the tables together and all that nonsense again.
Ah, classy.
I hope it will be fun. However, I did want to see in on your invoker classes. Your father had left me a note. Not your father. Your grandfather. Great-great-grandfather? God, how many goes back? I don't know anymore.
Grandbabar?
Yeah. Your grandbabar. She'll, rub her face just a bit, she's, awkward and smiling. She's, her granddaughter is now kind of, older than her, but also, where do I act in this? Do I treat you like a big adult? Do I treat you like the granddaughter I had so many years ago? So she's, trying to work through it, and there's a lot of awkward everything as she stumbles on by. It's he had left me a few letters to perhaps look into it.
Oh, yes, There is a lot that we would need to discuss another time. I'm sure you know what the invokers and their abilities, and so we seek to hone in on their specific skills, help them to control those things, and prepare them for the test to receive the blessing. And that's simply what we do. Beyond that, people don't leave here so much. Even after they've gained the abilities, many just settle down right here, finding it much simpler to live in Angel's Cove.
It is much simpler, but it does seem like the world may need their help sooner rather than later, my dear.
And I believe they have that expectation as well. We've at least established that their powers are not simply for them to hold on to selfishly. Some are more willing than others, of course.
Of course. So Devin, I think from B's standpoint, she might try to do some small talk things, oh, how's everything going? She took care of all the business parts that she wanted to do, but she just kind of wants to do a little bit of catch up, and then kind of be well, I don't want to take too much of your time, because we're going to be talking later this evening. I think you perhaps bring up some memories that you have of when she was actually a little girl, before she went out on her pilgrimage. And you managed to get a couple chuckles out of her, which has been very difficult throughout this time, but you feel like maybe her walls are coming down just a little bit. Oh, of course. Just Grandma's got to work some action in there. But she doesn't want to take too much of her time, so she'll bid her goodbye and perhaps leave the invoker thing for another time, because now B is overwhelmed. She's now have more family members that she ran into unexpectedly.
Yeah, I think she puts out her hand as if she's going to shake your hand, And then as you put out yours, she closes her hand and then just grabs you up into a hug. Geraldo kind of gasps. And then as she releases, she kind of straightens herself and she says, I'll see you at dinner.
She'll do that cute grandma things where she kind of like pinches your cheek kind of thing. She always did that.
And she'll kind of touch it and then...
You're still my little grandchild. You don't give me that. You may be older than me at the moment, but I know how this works.
And you look great for your age.
Thank you. She'll chuckle and go.
And you, as you leave, maybe admiring what Clariel has put together, who she's become. This is, your legacy shining through in this new city, in this new time for Angel's Cove. Let's talk about the City of Ghosts podcast. I've gobbled up episode 1, and let me tell you, the quality of production, voice acting, and storyline are just simply amazing in this supernatural neo-noir drama set in the 1990s. It takes place in New York City, so it's got corruption, it's got murder, it's got all the things that haunt us. We follow the sardonic, dry, and gruff Eleanor L. Rifkin, who makes a living as an information broker, digging up dirt on high-level individuals. But it's forced into a gripping new case of the supernatural kind. Here's a short trailer for you to sink your teeth into.
Can you hear me?
It's 1999, New York City.
Where am I? Who are you?
Oh, shut up!
Bridget Lundy Payne stars in a new supernatural neo-noir audio drama.
The voices, they're back.
City of Ghosts.
I understand this is beyond your usual scope.
So 2 deaths and an attempted third.
Must mean we're onto something big.
Men like them have fortresses built around them.
What good does sticking your neck out do, especially in this city?
Still, just be careful. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Do be well, Eleanor.
Ooh, so creepy. Love it. And I am happy to announce that City of Ghosts podcast episodes 1 and 2 are now available on all of your podcast platforms. So go give them a listen. And now, back to the show. Dinner is that night. I think we're transitioned right into that. So you know that Lafayette was going to make a type of spaghetti that he's just never grown out of it. Marguerite was going to make some homemade ice cream. It was like a custard style with all of the toppings, and so everyone else is supposed to bring some things as well. What do you bring to the table, literally?
What Miss B brings to the table? She would bring... I don't think she's like the best of cooks, but
not the worst. So it was the best of cooks. It was the worst of cooks.
Yeah. All at the same time. No, she was great at like baked goods. So we're going for the classic chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh. Nom.
And her secret ingredients were to like smush up berries and kind of like mix it in as part of the liquid used to make it. So just a hint of the secrets that she hardly ever taught anybody.
I think, and you're doing this at your house, correct?
Yes, at her house, tables have been brought over, chairs from some of the other bedrooms that were hiding in closets in the attic, unfolding tables, the whole 9 yards. Side tables have been brought in. Like when that hodgepodge Thanksgiving dinner when you have like your 30 family members in one space kind of vibe.
And it is packed tight, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It feels like a great family affair, something that's been long overdue. Perhaps something that some of these family members do anyways. Maybe some of them get together, I think. It's not unheard of. Let's get together to be a pretty regular occasion. Just now, there's even more excitement around it because one of the founders, the Grand Berry, is here.
Of course. And it's probably been, 600 plus years since it's been at her house? It's long overdue for her turn.
It is long overdue. And everyone shows up pretty much on time. It's hard to be away in the town that it's like not a huge town really to be able to walk from anywhere in town. Mm-hmm. And everyone gathers around the table. There are like candles, I imagine, kind of floating, very Harry Potter-esque.
Yeah.
Lots of light. There's some music playing, whether it's from someone in your family's playing it, or an old record player that's there. I think there's maybe some old tunes that you and Neo used to listen to that you really love that are playing. Yeah. And there is a feast that has been brought in.
It's loud and rambunctious, and I imagine Bees welcomed everyone into her very quiet home. And there's like life and no more dust in this. Well, there was no dust in it in the first place, but like not the quiet that there was before. And it's very warm and happy and jovial. Mm-hmm. And I imagine like she'll go down to sit at her spot at the table, wherever that is.
At the head. I think you're at the head of the table. And to your left is Marguerite, and to your right is Lafayette. And then anybody else that you want to put on there.
Well, it's probably any of her, obviously Clarielle would be there, and whoever else still alive, cousins, just everyone down the line. Whoever's there is there. And she'll look at everyone and have a moment of just like freezing for a second. It's like shock or something, and put her hand to her mouth and kind of like start to cry.
Everyone kind of quiets down and looks over to you.
Sorry. It's nice seeing everyone again, and even new faces. It's nice. It's nice to know you're all here. The past few weeks have been wild for me, and I'm not ready to tell all those stories just yet, but it's nice seeing you all again.
And everyone's kind of smiling at you, but not sure what to do until Lafayette says, "Can we eat now, or are you going to keep being a sop?"
Yeah, you can eat. Go.
And but he kind of like hugs you as he says that and says, "Everyone dig in!" And everyone kind of they laugh at that. Marguerite kind of shakes her head, and she kind of leans into you a little bit, kind of just in an accompanying way.
Mm-hmm. She'll smile and look at them both. I imagine a lot of happy dinner times. Lots of fun conversation, a lot of old memories, a lot of old stories that she'll tell about Laufey and Margot, about the trouble they used to get into, and just to see who she could shock at the table and be like, who didn't hear these stories? Like, you're not as pure as you think you are.
I think everyone is astounded. They are perhaps shocked by these stories, find them somewhat unbelievable, especially like the one about the gargoyles. Like, their heads are turned backwards because you guys did that as troublemakers, and they just haven't been changed since.
Mm-hmm. But if you don't have anything during the dinner, Devin, I think at end of dinner, when it's quiet down and she's got Laufey and Margot to herself, she'll look at them and kind of be like, "Would you mind if I ask a favor for tomorrow morning?"
Oh, anything. Of course, sister.
I wanted to go visit Mother and Father, Neo as well.
Oh, well, you know that you must go at sunset, right?
there's sunset, of course, but I don't know, I feel braver in the morning.
Well, you can catch them at sunrise as well. They're together twice a day.
Well, of course. Well, will you be up at sunrise, or will I have to wait till sunset for both of you to join me?
And Lafo says, I will absolutely not be up at that time. However, I will take a request this one time. And Mark kind of like hits him and says, whatever you need.
You guys are ridiculous, and I love you. Thank you.
And Lawful goes, we love you so much.
Oh my god. Now who's being the sap now?
Margot is. Okay. And that night ends. I think you sleep better and you've slept in a long time. This place is home. There's no doubt about it. And you wake up the next morning. Is that when you choose to go to Celestial Fields?
Yes, because I have requested my brother to wake up this early in the morning. I'm going to have to torture him just a little bit.
I think that the sun here rises. It'll probably be like a 5:15 a.m. type thing. And the party last night, the festivities went late into the night, maybe even early into the morning. And so none of you have gotten much sleep, but you're excited to be up. As it's still dark outside and you're making your way toward Celestial Fields, which is kind of on the outskirts of town away from everything, because it is the burial grounds, but it's a beautiful sight to be seen by anyone. Opening of the day, the dew is set on everything. Your feet are wet as you make your way the trail to Celestial Fields. And there's a span about 5 minutes at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day that you know where the transition is most beautiful. The sunflower, which is the flower that grows from the graves of any of the sun elves. And then there's the moonflower from any of the moon elves. But it's kind of like, you never know what you're going to get when you, depending on what line they come from. But it's always sunflowers and moonflowers. But you know that as one begins to close, there's a small window where they're open at the same time. As one is awaking and the other one is going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And you're walking with Marguerite and Lafayette to this site?
Yeah.
Who do you want to visit first?
Let's visit Neo first.
And is he buried in the same place? Or is he buried somewhere else, more specific for you?
I think he would be somewhere close to where her parents are, because I feel like they'll try to keep most family all together, right?
Okay.
However, the Havens kind of have like their own little subsection around in the area, since they were a little different than the elves, but still elves sprinkled in with everyone. And she'll visit him first.
Yeah, you're able to see his tombstone there, and a plot that is this. These individual kind of graves are well taken care of, because kind of some of the others are buried like in the fields. That's up to the families to kind of have them just grow in this gigantic. It's almost like there's a road that goes down the middle. Mm-hmm. On the left side are the moonflowers, on the right side are the sunflowers.
Gotcha. You remember that flower she had gotten?
Yes.
The moonflower that always stays open?
Mm-hmm.
She would take that and put it on his grave. That way he could have his own little flower that was always around. It's not quite a fake flower, but it's not a real flower either in some sort of way. But it's great.
Yes. And you do that.
She'll look at her sister and her brother. Then back to Neo's grave. It's like, I've found that he left me a journal with letters and notes. I'm not angry at you.
And they look at each other. They know what's up. Whatever do you mean, sister? What could you possibly be angry about?
Oh, bringing him back.
They kind of drop their heads. And Margaret says, so sorry.
To find his thoughts well put together in the notebook was a nice thing to find. And I'm hoping that research was useful.
It was very useful from what we can tell, based on the success of the school and helping those young ones and old ones that, we find to we're going to harness their great strength.
She'll nod and smile. I was like, that's good. Then she'll look back at them again. However, if you bring anyone else back from the dead that's not supposed to be alive, I will personally make sure you find your graves early.
And Lafayette says, I'm already not too far away, so who cares?
I know, it's great, isn't it? No one will suspect a thing.
But we understand, sister, and that's why we were a little hesitant to help your friend, but knew that we owed it to you to give you whatever you wanted.
You gave me whatever I wanted when I was younger as well. You spoiled me rotten. You're awful and I love you.
Jinx, double jinx.
What do I do this time?
And he just throws his arms open. Forgiveness.
Because I love you. And I owe you. she'll hug him. And bring in Marguerite. Hug them both. It's like, I forgive you.
Then you kind of deep sigh. Well, I suppose you'll want to go visit Mother and Father.
Yeah, it has been quite some time.
And I think you make your way there. It's still a little before that small window, where the sun is coming up. But you make your way there, and there in this field are two raised round platforms, pretty large and very close to each other. Maybe only a foot or two separates them. On them are a statue of your mother and your father, about 7 to 8 feet tall each. And you're able to walk up very close to this because of the pathway that leads to that. This is kind of like they're the entrance almost to this. Walking between them takes you down the path, which is a pretty good 100 yards, whatever, down between the two fields that are just growing with these sunflowers that glow during the day and are, light is gone at night, and the moonflower, which is the opposite, glowing at night and kind of closed during the day. And so you walk very close to it, and you see the moonflower as it begins to close and droop over a little bit. And you see that the sunflower has opened, and as it has done so, it has kind of leaned over underneath and is holding up the moonflower just a little bit as it begins to rise. And there's just stillness as the sun comes up, and it blooms for the next 5 minutes or so, and they seem to intertwine gently. In silence, you watch as the last seconds trickle away, and the glow from the moonflower fades, and the flowers separate with only the sunflower standing tall and shining brightly.
Sometimes I wish they were still around so I could ask for a little help. They're always so strong. I know Mom's tale was always about crying, but they were good. And I'm glad the sun and the moons are around. Because then, before coming here, it didn't feel quite as lonely. And it's weird to watch the world keep changing without him there. And she'll look at her siblings, then back to her parents. I'm sad I wasn't there for when they had gone.
It's okay, sister. They knew what you were doing. We all knew what you were doing, and you were the wild spirit. If anything, if in this family, and there was no sense in trying to hold you back.
I guess you're right on that. I'm gonna have to cause more trouble. Make new friends. It's difficult. Why do we have to live so long? Everything changes so quickly, it feels like.
When you say that, you hear in your head, it sounds like someone is saying it out loud, but you hear it more in your head. You someone say, "It does change quickly, doesn't it?" And if you were to turn around, you see between these statues, at sort of at the back of that field where the flowers sort of end, there it kind of goes into a space of about 20 feet, and then there's like a wood line there. So it's literally just a big field with a right side sunflowers, left side moonflowers. Mm-hmm. And you see this sort of black portal that has opened up, and stepping through is this white dragonborn. Which you have never, you've seen very few of these. Riz was the last one that you remember seeing. Mm-hmm. White dragonborn, and it's wearing this crimson red metal armor and a long cloak, and it has a staff with this glowing red orb at the end of it. As she looks at you, you see that it has these white glowing eyes and this creepy toothy grin to its face. She steps out of this portal, and she begins to step through on the flowers, not taking the path, but taking the moonflowers. And at each step takes, the moonflowers lose their light and just kind of fall over. And she takes about 4 steps into this field, and then behind the dragonborn is an elf that steps out with a large scythe, wearing this wooded-looking armor. The Dragonborn doesn't talk, but you hear in your head, "Where are your friends?"
Seeing the disrespect to the moonflowers, Bee looks like she has flipped a switch. It is no longer sad or tears or anything, just anger. Like, why would someone even do that? She wouldn't even give them the acknowledgement of speaking to whoever this person with the scythe is. She just goes straight for her daggers, the sun and moon pair that she's got.
Yeah, and so then as you or even pull those out, you hear the voice say, "So sad that they can't be here to see you join us." And she bends down and pulls up some of the flowers in a handful, and she kind of smells them, and as she smells them, the light seems to absorb into her nostrils, and the flowers kill over. And she drops them, and she says, "What a beautiful place this is. I remember when my sister created it. So whimsical, so full of life." And with that, she raises her staff up with both hands. At this time, you see 2 bipedal tree ants. Some of these what we call the wooded guards. They come running out of the trees, running hastily toward where the Dragonborn is. And there's this strong light that begins to emit from the head of the staff, and you realize that the force is coming from the moon, the moon flowers. Their essence is being drawn up into the staff, and then as soon as there's enough in, it shoots out in a disc form, and the trees are cut in half, and they lay on the ground.
I'd like to go and attack this person, Devin. This is uncool. I don't like it.
We're looking at about 100 yards out. 300 feet or so it's very far out.
Yeah, Miss B, like, even though they're far, it's going to take her a hot minute to get there, but this is her home. She's going to defend it. She's not a magic wielder that can toss something far enough to make it. But hell, if she's going to stand there and just watch and do nothing.
So I think you're able to take your steps forward, but you're not able to make it. Obviously, it's going to take several rounds.
Oh yeah.
Of time to get there. But as you are running forward, almost even like anime style, daggers out, just bloodlust in mind, you hear the voice say, "So you are who's supposed to stop the world from becoming what I want it to be." And that's kind of their turn.
As much as I would like to have this fun dialogue, Devin, B is angry. Like I've said, she's going to spend the next several rounds.
Your turn. You don't have to say
running.
anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's, like I said, several rounds to get there, however long. Feet right into the ground, kicking up dirt, avoiding any of the flowers that might get in her way, hopping, jumping, however she needs to. Her hair kind of whipping back. She didn't tie it back today. She wasn't expecting a fight. This is home. Her dress kicking up behind her. She always has her weapons on her just because that's who B is, but she's always prepared for something, even if it is somewhere safe.
As you're continuing to run, you've gotten closer. You're probably you've covered half the distance, we'll say, to this dragonborn who's just staring menacingly at you. And you hear her say, in your head again, "Well, then we'll just end this part 1 of 3 death mission I'm on here and now." And she points this red staff at you, and again it draws up a bunch of this moon energy, maybe even some of the sunflowers, their energy is drawn over into it, and she points it at you. And this large beam grows larger and larger and larger, and then shoots. It's probably like the size of your torso, this beam, at you.
Okay.
And you're so angry that before it even hits you, your eyes begin to glow, but a rainbowy color. And as this beam gets within about 10 feet of you, the light ricochets off of some invisible barrier in front of you and out to the sides into the woods, leaving these large holes in the tree line.
Oh god, now I've accidentally killed some tree ants, Devin!
And as you continue running, I want you to roll a perception check for me.
Yeah, sure. Not good. That's an 11.
Roll with advantage because you're like Super Saiyan right now.
15?
Yes. You see micro expression of this confident, smiling, maniacal-looking character suddenly falters, and it takes the smallest step back, and then you see their head turn to the elf behind them, but you know something's being said, but you're not sure what they're saying. And as you run up to attack, they're able to jump back into this portal, and as you slash through it, you catch the wisp of darkness, and there's no one there.
B, I won't scream into the mic because I'm not going to spike it, but she would yell with frustration up to the sky and like white knuckle holding her daggers. She's pissed. It'd be like, what in the gods?
So the scene I imagine is kind of B falls to her knees. Daggers kind of maybe like into the ground out of anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much time passes with you there. And then you feel a hand on your shoulders, on both shoulders. And you just know that it's Lafayette and Margaret. And so you take your hands up and you grab those hands on your shoulder. But as you look up to your right, it's William. And as you look over to your left, it's Lucian. And that's where we're on the episode.
Interesting. That's fun. That's fun, Devin. Did you just send my Auntie Unith to me? She just called the sister.
Well, to be determined. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Lawful Stupid. This is really fun. I like our one-offs. I don't know if you do or not. If not, wait till next week. We got the whole crew's back together again. We're going to record that shortly. But let's go ahead and get into our after-episode items. So, as for the other two episodes, Abon, you get to carry all the weight. All of it.
I get to carry all the weight. Well, let's do the most important part, I feel like, would be our roll for humanity.
Absolutely.
So it's for UNICEF still, because we're in October.
We are.
1d20. Your girl just nat 20'd.
Dang. So I think what Shane does, and he's on, he can correct me wrong, I think you just roll again and we're going to add to it.
Sweet. So that's a nat 20 and then another d20, right?
Yep.
Sweet. And that's a 10.
That's that's $30. That's I think it might be the highest roll we've ever had.
It's been a while since you guys had a 20 on Roll for Humanity. So exciting. Exciting. So go support your UNICEF peeps, because I think it's... I don't even remember all the details about it. I'm sorry, I have failed. That's fine.
They hook up. They're trying to hook up kids with Halloween costumes and that kind of thing. So kids who can't get them. So they want to go to Spooktown and get candy. So that's how we want to help them do that.
Wonderful. The next part would be... if you want to support Lawful Stupid, you would like to visit our store at store.lawfulstupid.org. We've got shirts. I want to make a Halloween shirt of some sort. So that will be fun. So go buy it. Maybe we'll have stickers instead of shirts. Or maybe a combination of both, because I like both things. Otherwise...
I like both things.
I do. I want, like, all the Lawful Stupid products. I like wearing it. It's very comfy. It's very soft. Like... If Gingy and I could fill our closet only of Lawful Stupid stuff, we would, because the shirts are that nice, and I'm old and I don't want to wear bad products anymore.
So UNICEF doesn't do what I said, apparently. So UNICEF, this copy and paste from Shane, is also known as the United Nations Children's Fund, is the United Nations agency responsible for providing humanitarian and developmental aid to children worldwide. The agency is among the most widespread and recognizable social welfare organizations in the world, with a presence in 192 countries and territories. Shane, thank you for that copy and paste. And you can get the link in this episode as well in the show notes.
Beautiful. Also, if you'd like to join our Discord, where we can get copy-paste stuff, just in case whenever Dev and I mess up, we'll have somebody to correct us somewhere in that Discord server. So go to Discord.lawfulstupid.org.
You can believe there's people there. If you love being corrected, just join our Discord.
Yep, just do it.
Always willing to correct you.
Or send theories. I want both. I want to know what other people think, because maybe that is anti-Unith. That's my thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, so we did the Discord thing. We did the Roll for Humanity. Yeah, at the store. Excellent.
Now I have to do the last part.
Let's do it. My good news story.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Some of them, because it's you, I feel like I can do some of these other ones. But sometimes I'm afraid to even say some of them. I don't even want to hear the bad side of it. But let's do this. Woman pays for 60 strangers' meals at a Pennsylvania diner. I just wonder why they added Pennsylvania. Like, why is that important? But that's the news story. Woman pays for 60 strangers' meals at a Pennsylvania diner. And so you get to be yourself and then the boys.
It's too much pressure. I don't want to be them. That's their job. So she's just being a sweet old lady. She misses all her grandchildren. Obviously, she's like Miss B, right? So, like, to spoil the people around her, let's just feed everyone, because who doesn't like a good free meal, right? What they don't tell you... What do they not tell us?
What do they not tell you?
That she's trying to gain people for her lich baby army.
I'm going to read Zebra. Zebra says they're actually not strangers. It was a family dinner, and she had Alzheimer's.
Yeah, no, I like that option.
That's good.
Yeah. If you're a $50 patron, you could send in stuff, and I will take it. Please and thanks. But the thing you need to wake up about, because there's sheeple among us... I bet the boys are loving my struggle bus on trying to think of something. It's all a government conspiracy that Alzheimer's isn't real. Mm-hmm. And it's just all an act to make sure that the newspapers can spread this feel-good story. That way the Abons of the world can keep assuming it's a nice old grandma trying to spoil people. So wake up, America, you sheeple.
Wake up,
just do it.
I think you nailed that. I think you actually just get to replace Shane from here on out.
Oh no.
Also because he's not going to have any audio in this episode, even if he chimes in right now. Well, with that, we thank you for listening, and as usual, we love you.
We love you. Bye.
Bye. I could have gone on forever. I am out of here.
You could.